When you hear the words tax-free paradise, what comes to mind? You probably picture the glittering, futuristic skyline of Dubai, or maybe the billionaire-filled harbor of Monaco, where the streets are packed with supercars. In these places, the government takes exactly 0% of your personal income. If you make $1 million, you keep $1 million. But look around at these cities. They have some of the most advanced infrastructure in the world. They have massive police fleets, flawless roads, state-of-the-art hospitals, and luxurious public spaces. This brings us to a massive contradiction. Governments need billions of dollars just to keep a country running. If they aren't taxing the people's paychecks, how do they afford all of this? Today, we are breaking down the economic engine of the world's tax havens. Because no income tax does not mean free. Let's look at how a zero income tax government actually fills its bank accounts. They do this by replacing direct taxes with indirect fees. The first major pillar is corporate and licensing fees. In places like the Cayman Islands, they host tens of thousands of offshore businesses. If you want to register a hedge fund or an international business there, you pay a massive annual licensing fee. Multiply those heavy fees by 100,000 businesses, and the government has billions in pure profit. Things are also changing globally. Recently, the UAE introduced a 9% corporate tax on larger business profits to align with international standards. But they still do not touch your personal salary. Instead, they use the second pillar, consumption taxes, like VAT. Monaco might not tax your income, but they charge a 20% value-added tax on almost everything you buy. The UAE also has a 5% VAT. Every time you buy a coffee, lease a car, or pay for a service, the government gets a cut. It feels small to the individual, but across millions of tourists and residents, it adds up to billions. The third pillar is state-owned monopolies. In many tax-free regions, the government owns or holds massive stakes in the telecommunications companies, the airlines, and the utility grids. Every time a resident pays their phone bill or turns on the air conditioning, a portion of that money goes straight into the government's wealth fund. But these indirect taxes and fees only work if the people living there have a lot of money to spend. This is the true genius of the tax-free model. We call it the wealth magnet. By offering zero income tax, these countries send a clear message to the world's billionaires and ultra-high net worth individuals. The message is simple: bring your wealth here and we'll not touch it. But when a billionaire moves to Monaco or Dubai, they don't just sit in an empty room. They buy a $20 million mansion. And when they buy that mansion, they pay a massive real estate transfer fee, often around 4%. That is nearly $1 million straight to the government, just for the privilege of buying a house. These wealthy residents hire local staff, creating jobs for thousands of people. They buy luxury cars that carry heavy import duties, and they eat at high-end restaurants, paying VAT on every $1,000 meal. The tax-free strategy isn't about letting people hoard their money. It's about getting the richest people on earth to voluntarily inject their wealth into the local economy. The government doesn't need an income tax because they tax the luxury lifestyle itself. But what happens if you aren't a billionaire? What is the reality for the ordinary, middle class worker who moves to a no tax country hoping for a better financial life? The biggest trade off is the extreme cost of living. Because the government relies heavily on fees, rent, and consumption taxes, the baseline cost of merely existing in these cities is incredibly high. Let's talk about rent. In a tax free hub, real estate is premium. An ordinary apartment can cost double or triple what it would cost in a heavily taxed country. Education is another hidden massive cost. There is usually no free public schooling for expatriate workers in these regions. If you are an ordinary worker with two children, you must pay out of pocket for international private schools. This alone can cost tens of thousands of dollars a year. Then there is healthcare. In many tax free countries, you must pay for mandatory private health insurance. When you add up the massive rent, the expensive imported groceries, the school fees, and the healthcare premiums, many middle class workers find a harsh truth. The money they saved by not paying income tax is completely wiped out by the sheer cost of surviving. The tax free model is a brilliant economic strategy. It forces the government to run the country like a highly efficient, profit driven corporation. They don't take your money by force through an income tax. Instead, they build a luxurious environment where you are practically forced to spend it. For the ultra wealthy, it truly is a paradise. It is a place where their capital can grow uninterrupted, protected by world class infrastructure and safety. But for the ordinary person, the tax free paradise is a strict mathematical calculation. You might keep 100% of your paycheck, but the city is expertly designed to take it back, one small fee at a time.